Sweet potatoes are a familiar food, both delicious and easy to prepare. Normally, many people boil or steam sweet potatoes the traditional way. However, if you don't know how to prepare them properly, the sweet potatoes can sometimes be bland, watery, or not as creamy and fragrant as desired. Therefore, today, I will introduce two new and very simple ways to prepare sweet potatoes. These methods not only help the sweet potatoes retain their natural sweetness, but also make the flesh of the sweet potato more creamy, chewy, and delicious. With just a few simple steps, you'll have delicious sweet potatoes to enjoy with your whole family. Now let's get started. First, I'll prepare some fresh sweet potatoes. Before processing, I'll quickly inspect them to select those that are intact, not bruised or damaged. Next, I'll use a knife to cut off the ends of each sweet potato. These are the parts that usually have more dirt and sand clinging to them, and cutting them off also makes cleaning and processing in the following steps easier. After cutting, I'll put all the sweet potatoes into a large bowl. Next, I'll add 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 1 teaspoon of salt to the bowl. Then pour in clean water until all the sweet potatoes are completely submerged. Then I'll gently rub the sweet potatoes with my hands to dissolve the baking soda and salt completely in the water. I'll also stir them several times so that the entire surface of the sweet potatoes is in contact with the solution. Next, I'll let the sweet potatoes soak for about 7 to 10 minutes. During soaking, baking soda helps soften the soil and dirt clinging to the potato skins, making cleaning easier afterward. In addition, salt helps clean the potato surface, especially in small crevices or areas where dirt tends to accumulate. Once the soaking time is over, drain all the water from the bowl and rinse with clean water. Place each potato under running water and use a soft brush to gently scrub the entire surface. Scrub thoroughly from top to bottom, especially the eyes and small grooves where dirt tends to stick more. Continue this process until all the potatoes are clean. After rinsing, the potato skins are free of dirt and ready for the next steps. Since the dish will be cooked with the skins, thorough cleaning from the beginning will result in a cleaner and tastier finished product. The first tip is to cook potatoes with sea salt using the dry steaming method. This method is quite simple, but helps the potatoes cook slowly, preserving their natural flavor and creating a chewy, soft texture when eaten. First, prepare a pot with a tight-fitting lid. Then, add a quantity of sea salt to the bottom of the pot and spread it evenly across the surface with your hand or a spoon. Note that you should only spread a moderate layer of salt. Don't pour it too thickly. This layer of salt helps to distribute heat more evenly during cooking and also prevents the potatoes from coming into direct contact with the bottom of the pot. Next, prepare 3 clean sticks. Place 1 stick vertically in the middle of the pot, then place the other 2 horizontally to create a simple support above the salt layer. After creating the support, arrange the cleaned potatoes on top of the sticks. I arranged the potatoes so they weren't stacked too much on top of each other, allowing the heat to distribute evenly around each potato. Next, I covered the pot and placed it on the stove. Throughout the cooking process, I kept the heat low and cooked for about 20 to 25 minutes. Maintaining low heat allows the heat to transfer slowly and evenly, so the potatoes cook gradually from the outside in without burning the skin. When the time was up, I opened the lid and gently poked the center of each potato with a fork to check for doneness. If the fork easily penetrates and the flesh inside feels soft, then the potatoes are cooked. At this point, I gently removed each potato onto a plate. Finally, I broke the potato in half with my hand or a knife to check the inside. You can see that the potato flesh is evenly cooked, has a beautiful golden color, and a soft, chewy texture. Thanks to this slow cooking method, the potatoes retain their natural sweetness, don't become watery, and have a fragrant, soft, and very appealing texture when eaten. The second tip is to bake potatoes in an air fryer. This is a very simple method, but it gives the potatoes an appealing aroma. a slightly crispy skin, while the inside remains soft, creamy, and naturally sweet. If your family has an air fryer, this is definitely worth trying. First, take the cleaned potatoes and place them on a cutting board. Then, use a knife to make several small cuts on the surface of the potato skin. I only make light cuts, just enough to create shallow cuts, not cutting too deep into the flesh inside. I do this around the entire potato until the cuts are evenly distributed. These cuts not only make the potato look nicer, but also help the heat penetrate easily during baking, so the potato cooks more evenly from the outside in. After completing the skin slicing step, I prepare some lard. Using a brush or clean hands, I take a moderate amount of oil and spread it evenly over the entire surface of each potato. I try to apply a thin, even layer to the entire potato skin, including the slits I just made. This layer of oil will help the potato surface retain moisture during baking, and when heated, it will make the skin more fragrant, shiny, and prevent it from drying out. This is also a little trick to make the finished product look more appealing. Once I've coated all the potatoes, I open the air fryer and gently arrange each potato inside. I arrange them so that there is adequate space between them, not overlapping, so that hot air can circulate evenly around each potato. This will help all sides of the potatoes receive relatively even heat throughout the baking process. Then, I set the temperature to 180 degrees Celsius and the time to 15 minutes and begin baking. During this time, hot air will circulate continuously inside the fryer, helping the potatoes heat up slowly. As the temperature gradually increases, you will begin to smell the very distinctive aroma of baked potatoes spreading. After the first 15 minutes, open the fryer. At this point, use tongs or chopsticks to gently flip each potato to the other side. Flip the potatoes is a very important step because it ensures both sides are directly exposed to the hot air, helping the potatoes cook more evenly and giving them a more appealing color. After flipping, set the temperature to 180 degrees Celsius for another 15 minutes, just like the first time, and continue baking. At this stage, the potato skin will gradually firm up. The grooves on the surface will begin to open slightly, and the aroma of the potatoes will be much more pronounced. When the program finishes, remove each potato and place it on a plate. At this point, just by looking at the outside, you can see that the potato skin is slightly dry, has a beautiful color, and emits a very appealing aroma. Next, I use my hand or a knife to break the potato in half to check the inside. You can see that the potato flesh is evenly cooked from the outside to the inside. The potato flesh has a beautiful yellow color, a soft, creamy, and quite chewy texture. When broken in half, the heat and the characteristic aroma of the potato spread out, which is very appealing. Thanks to being baked in an air fryer, combined with a thin layer of pork fat on the outside, the potato skin has a distinctive aroma, while the flesh inside retains its natural moisture, is not dry, and still retains the inherent sweetness of the potato. This potato dish is perfect to enjoy while still hot. You can have it for breakfast, a snack, or a light meal during the day. The method is not too complicated, but the finished product is fragrant, creamy, and chewy, and is well worth trying at home. So today, I've shared with you 2 simple yet delicious ways to prepare sweet potatoes. Each method has its own unique flavor, helping the sweet potatoes retain their natural softness, tenderness, and sweetness. If you have sweet potatoes at home, try them out and choose your favorite. Thank you for watching, and see you again in more delicious tips and recipes in the next videos.